is on the move. The virus has arrived in yet another province.
They're concerned about any health problem that's on the mainland. It's not going to stay there.
Showing the vaccine only thought to be 10% effective.
Nationwide, there are already more than 41,000 cases confirmed. Every state in the country reporting widespread flu activity.
As of this morning, 18 countries around the world have reported cases of the flu within their borders.
Numbers out of Australia as of mid-October are concerning. If you get sick, stay home.
Born Free by Joy Adamson. Now, I was really excited to pick up this book just for the simple fact that it's a kind of almost a biography. It's just like a story of Elsa, this lion who was one of 3 cubs, 2 of which were in a zoo. And this one was kind of kept by Joy Adamson to kind of rear it and try to re-release it into the wild, and kept as kind of like a house cat for a while until obviously it got big and dangerous. I mean, for crying out loud, it's a lion. But hey, let's keep it around the house. So you know there's going to be some good stories just from reading the synopsis of it. Originally published in the 60s, have not seen the movie, wasn't really sure of what to expect. Kind of reminds me a little bit of The Elephant Whisperer, except, you know, for the obvious fact that that was about elephants and this is about a lion. But he took on a problem animal, which in that case was a herd of elephants. She's taking on a lion. Which one's harder? It's tough to say. One will stomp you to death if you piss it off, one will eat you. So pick your poison. But with this one, I think they originally had it in mind that they were going to release Elsa into the wild initially because it's a lion. It's going to get big. It's going to eat other animals and all the other reasons you wouldn't want to keep a lion around. Problem is they got very, very, very attached to this lion, and they spent years raising it. I think it was 2 by the time they took it to try to reintegrate it, and they set up like a camp. Now they say a camp in the book, but it sounds to me like kind of a permanent camp. Obviously it's a book. They didn't really get into too much detail on the camp. The tents sounded pretty permanent. The lion would come in and hang out like a house cat, except huge, in the tents, and was very comfortable with them. And they're trying to get it to go back into the wild, which from what I understand is pretty tough. I've seen another series on Netflix about a guy that had a cub that was abandoned. Mom was killed for whatever reason. Same scenario with Elsa here. And they say that they're pretty tough to introduce into the wild, killed by other lions, can't hunt. For a number of reasons, they don't make it. So I understand the care that goes into reintegrating this lion into the wild, but this is a stinking lion. I can't stress that enough. I mean, even every other series that I've seen, like this one on Netflix, they see other animals and their instincts take over. They're very strong instincts. Even wolves, they take those and they make hybrid dogs. One generation, those instincts are extremely strong. That lion gets hungry, he'll eat you. But anyways, that's coming from a guy who's never raised a lion, so what do I know? But if you boil this whole story down, this is a story of a woman who had a lion, and the goal was to reintroduce it into the wild and let nature take its course. I want to be clear that it's a great story, very well written, loved the story. I kind of wish it was a little longer because, like I said, this is years, and the book on Audible was only, I think, just over 5 hours. So you gotta imagine there's probably more stories that she's not mentioned. Like, for example, what do the neighbors think? You got a lion running around. There's got to be some more stories from that. But anyway, my problem is that they took this lion into the wild and they stayed there with servants. We're talking massive resources to get this lion reintegrated into the wild, trying to find her a boyfriend lion kind of thing. And eventually Elsa ends up having cubs. Now they're worried about the cubs. Now they're really committed to the cubs. And I'm probably giving too much away here, but then Elsa dies. Now the cubs are abandoned. Now they have 2 or 3 lion cubs that they've got to move. They never just back away and let nature take its course. These lions might die. That's the risk you take. But it almost seems to me like they never got to the point where they could just let her loose, let her live her life, let her be a lion, and let the chips fall where they may. To the point where even the cubs now, they're keeping an eye on. They're pissing off basically the tribes in the area. They move the lions, piss off whoever in that area because they won't leave the lions alone, don't feed the animals in the Serengeti Plain or wherever they end up taking the lions. Where do you stop? Now these cubs have cubs. Are you going to then watch those cubs? To me, they were too much of a family for the author. That might just me being heartless, but it's a stinking lion. not a house cat. So given that they were so connected to this lion, it almost sounded like the lion was a kid. So concerned about what the lion was doing. They're trying to reintegrate the lion into the wild, then the lion doesn't come back. Elsa doesn't come back for a while. They start getting worried. At what point do you just let the lion go? And I think that's what they never really were able to do because they were too attached to this wild animal. So my question is, would it have been better off for them to reintroduce her into the wild and then walk away earlier than they did, let nature take its place, even though Elsa is going to have a shorter life because she's in the wild, she's fighting off other lions, fighting hyenas, hunting for herself, providing for her cubs, getting diseases, parasites, whatever, living like a wild animal, not getting vet checks like she was? Or would it have been better for Elsa to have gone with her siblings to a zoo where they can be monitored, vet checked, fed, probably live a longer life, but a longer life in captivity? What's the better option? Of course, that's what's going through my head. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll talk to you next time.